So a lot of these, they're really layered. It's kind of tough to decide where exactly to put them because part of this brain balancing is stress reduction. It also helps with focus and attention. It also helps with organization. So there's a lot of different layers here. But let's just jump ahead now to the learning state, which it's been called by, I don't know, a lot of people
where are you with that?
Way back when. Don't worry about it in your book.
Okay.
Don't even read it. We're going to do it. It's on page
47. And I have found when I tried to do
47.
this at home, I had a hard time visualizing.
Trying to figure out.
Oh, it was frustrating. I just
Yes.
couldn't get it.
And the older the person, like past like 21 or 40 or whatever, 20, 30, 40, the harder it is. Little kids, they close their eyes,
Right.
they can just, boom, they can see it. It's just there. Their
that's
imaginations are awake.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started working on some of this and doing like my pie memorization, okay, I mean, I really, when I close my eyes, I see the inside of my eyelids. Okay,
It's dark.
that's what I see. So what I've noticed is that with older students and some children, the exercises are actually better. It's not my first choice, but they're actually better if they keep their eyes open and they just look at a blank wall, because I can see that apple clearly. I can see the red apple with the green leaves. I can put some spots on it. I can see a worm coming out. I can see all kinds of stuff with my eyes open. With my eyes closed, now I've trained myself, so I'm gotten back to my childhood, if you will. Okay. So it's changed for me with practice, but with a lot of older, I'd say like past high school adult folks, it can be harder for them. Yeah. So it's not unusual. Good, very good question.
So we should not feel like failures when it doesn't
I
happen.
tried over and over.
No.
I was getting frustrated.
Yeah.
And then you think of the kids, I was getting frustrated, so you can imagine how they're getting
Right.
frustrated.
You'll occasionally get a child that can't visualize, and that is going to be a particular challenge. If they're committed to I can't visualize, that is a very, very particular challenge. And
Would these be kids lacking in imagination? I mean, my son does not ever, he's never ever used his imagination to play.
sometimes we all have an imagination, but it's an interpretation.
Right.
Sometimes when you use the word see it, visualize it, they don't get it. If you say imagine, they get it. Okay? But the same kid that will swear on his mother's eyes that he cannot visualize or imagine, you say, okay, well, let's forget that. Tell me what your house looks like. Well, it has two doors over here, and it has a window up here, and the roof comes down, and the garage is over.
So you just gotta find the way to.
Okay?
There.
He's obviously seeing it. He has an eidetic memory. He sees those pictures in his head. But you might need to fish around for the right language and the right context so that he can feel successful and feel like you're talking about the same thing. Does that make sense?
So like if they see the apple, I mean you're telling them to visualize the apple.
Yeah.
And they just can't visualize, but like you have the apple there. You
So a
can
lot
show
of times
them.
this is where I start. I say, okay, I hold it up to the left, and I say,
That was
okay,
easier.
now take a good look, close your eyes, and just imagine the apple. Just imagine what that apple looks like. Or we'll do the exercise with the dot. Okay, so I'll have everybody right now close your eye, or focus on the red dot. Focus on the red dot. Forget about everything else. Let your mind go. Just stay on the red dot. Keep your eyes on the red dot.
Do kids have trouble doing this? Because I'm having trouble doing this. I keep wandering over to all the pictures of the kids. And
Yes, this will take
Okay,
practice,
so
like a lot of things.
Okay.
Not everybody can do this in the beginning.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes on the red dot, like a laser beam, or like a string attached. Sometimes I'll say from the back of your head, right through, right to the red dot. And very quickly become aware of your peripheral vision, all the way out. Now what we're doing here is we're overloading the nervous system. Okay? So you're taking everything in, but remember the whole sympathetic, parasympathetic, we're not allowing you to look. We're kind of tricking the brain. into not looking at something that should be a distraction, something that should get your attention. Oop, if I'm at the water hole and I'm, you know, I don't want to be eaten, I got to look around at all this stuff, these shadows and shapes and moving. No, keep your eyes on the keep your eyes on the red dot. Keep your eyes on the red dot. Just ignore me. Just ignore me. You're aware of everything around you. And what kid doesn't have to do this in class? See? This is exactly what he's got to do. He's got to ignore the gal taking off her shoes, or the guy playing with his pencil, or what the maintenance guy's taking gum or fixing the sprinkler system, and he's got to stay focused because that's where the learning is. So this is training at so many different levels, aside from switching over from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system, as we ignore everything around us, but at the same time we're fully aware, fully alert. So your nervous system is taking in all this information. Look at this, all this information it's taking in at the same time, but it's maintaining its focus.
So it's kind of like you're training your brain to say, it's okay not to look. It's okay to stay focused forward.
Yes.
Because your brain's still noticing those things, so you're safe, but...
So your brain goes, well, hell, I must be safe. It must be okay. I guess I can relax.
Right.
Because if I'm just ignoring everything around me, then it must be okay. I'm not a gazelle at the water hole. So yeah. So then you usually launch into look up to the left, close your eyes. So go ahead. Picture that shiny red apple with green leaves. Or close your eyes. I might do this with some kids. Close your eyes. Imagine the red dot, just the way you saw it. Maybe it'll occur as just a dark spot. It'll occur as just a dark spot. And allow that spot to get larger and take kind of the shape of an apple. And when you're ready, when it's easy for you, just imagine those two green leaves coming out so that you see an apple with green leaves. And notice how easy it is to hold that image. And just hold it steady for a few seconds. Just hold it steady there. And we'll build up some time. We'll make it easier and faster. And now I might have them open their eyes. And I will put the word apple on the board. And most kids can spell the word apple pretty easily. A-P-P-L-E. And now close your eyes again. Picture your shiny red apple with green leaves. And underneath it, the word apple. And I will check to make sure, is that pretty easy for you to see? Yeah. Yeah. And notice now that you can see that all as a picture, the word and the picture together. It's an image. And notice that you can easily now see the letters connected. And with a little practice, you can see the whole word. And I'll remind you to keep your eyes closed. I often have to do that with kids. Some kids, that's a bigger issue, or not. I mean, I've literally had kids that can't keep their eyes closed for 5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Is it the whole hunter thing of they feel vulnerable
they're
with
just,
their eyes closed?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's just hyperness.
They're just, their nervous system just, it's just, yeah, it's not okay. But notice that very quickly you can see the picture of the apple, you see the word apple, and you can easily spell it forwards and backwards.
Is that how you do the other?
Can you do that, Jamie? Can you see it forwards and backwards?
I seen the dot. I was really impressed.
Very good. Very good.
Working on that.
Getting there.
Like that's a dot. I actually seen it. So.
Very good.
Jerry,
Mm-hmm.
how often is that hyperstimulation, not being able to close your eyes and stuff like that, from too much media?
Boy, that's a good question. And again, you know, my clientele is spread out, so it's anecdotal. I mean, as a blanket statement, you know, these guys are really sensitive to media, TV. I mean, I've had people where I worked with the child for a little bit and said, listen, if you're not willing to turn off the TV, there's nothing we can do. We're not going to make any progress. It's really up to you. I mean, I can show him the skills. I can show him how to read and how to memorize, and I can give you all the skills, but I doubt you're going to make any significant progress unless you get rid of the TV. It's just, it just cranks them up. It cranks them up. Everything from the refresh rate on the screen, you know, the interlaced refresh rate, to the number of scene changes every 1 to 1.5 seconds, to the content, which is almost always violent and a semi-adult level, because that way you get the adults to watch the programs too. So, yeah, and that's the bad news for a lot of families, because some of them can't do it. They can't make that break.
I could seriously not get my son to watch it. Not until he was on the meds. Now he's sitting. He's not really even enjoying it. He's just really bored. Can't find anything else to do, so he's watching it. But really, until he had the meds, he
Interesting.
couldn't sit and watch TV.
Interesting.
And maybe he'd sit and watch it.
But
if
video,
we
but
sat.
video games.
Video games he could do, because
Yeah,
he's
see.
doing something. But you know what? He'd be all over the room playing the. I mean, he wouldn't just sit there.
Yeah.
Now he does because he's on
Man,
the meds.
I'm not into.
I don't know.
I try not to make blanket statements, but under 10, I think it's almost no media at all. It's going to kill their imagination. That's one of the reasons they can't make pictures.
He watches too much TV.
We don't want.
Just kidding.
No, actually,
No, adults is pretty common. We're just too far away from
my son
childhood.
don't either.
Yeah.
He plays
You know.
video games for an hour.
And that's the balance where you can sometimes come up with, and that'll be okay. You know, before school,
No.
it can't. There's just no way.
Yeah.
You can't watch an hour of TV or whatever, and then run off to school and expect to focus and concentrate. I know in Waldorf school, the old school where our kids went to, they outlawed TV for kids under 10. Nope. If you want to attend this school, no media. No media, no TV, no iPod, no video games, no PSPs or PS2s or PD3s or whatever they're doing. No
No radio.
No radio.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
No music. That would be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say
Encourages
when you're in the car, talk to each other,
Yeah.
have a conversation.
I said my son.
When you're
hates
home,
music.
go either talk to each other, go play with Legos, do something in the real world. See, that's where they're naturally good at. Get them outside, let them get muddy and whatever.
See, my son hates music too. He will not really listen to music at all.
Interesting.
And actually, it drives me nuts because that's the one thing I need is the radio in the car. But he wants to babble, and I will let him babble and talk to him, and I'll have my music time after I drop him off. But
And I do too.
you
I
know,
mean,
but
again, and every family's different.
Yeah.
It's finding a balance. Do we do TV? No. Do we do videos and movies? Yes.
Right.
So.
right.
And do we place limits during the school year on when they can watch and how much they watch? Absolutely. How many hours of video games they get a week? So it can be a tough conversation for families. And I've had families leave. They said no. You know, the one extreme, Patty K, they had like there's a TV in the kitchen, a TV in the living room, a TV in the bedroom, and in their bedroom, and I think somewhere else, the den or the kids' bedroom. They had 4 TVs going 24/7,
Yeah.
all on different channons. So as you walked from room to room, there was something different. What?
So now you can have them in the car too.
Right.
And you can have them in the car. Yeah, that's right. We added them down to minivans. Each kid can watch their own movie even.
Yeah.
But the studies are so overwhelming, not just on ADD kids, that the
Right.
American Society of Pediatrics, and
Right.
I'm sure I don't have all the words exactly right, but you know, that association of pediatrics,
Yeah.
they even suggest no media
Right.
during the school week.
Yeah.
The school week, yeah.
So it's not just ADD kids, it's just it's
Right.
more, you will definitely see a difference. They're just more sensitive.
Yeah.
And our teachers that are the teachers at the Waldorf school, they were able to see it so clearly. The reason they outlawed it was because if a child is getting a steady flow of TV, media, video games, by the time they get to the 5th grade, there's nothing a teacher can do to hold their attention. Nothing. it's a total crapshoot as to whether they're gonna learn anything, pay attention, and get anything out of it. So they just said, you know what? If you're gonna spend $7,000 to be here, you know what? You're gonna do this. This is it. Because we're not gonna get to the 5th grade and then have everybody dropping out because we can't hold their attention or having their grades go down. So it was kind of like, in some ways, it was self-preservation, but also for the good of the kids too.
Well, the charter school also, the charter Waldorf school has the same rules. In fact, they're even more strict than the private Waldorf school, which I found really amazing. Because at the private Waldorf school, tuition's now up to $10,000 a student.
Wow.
And so I guess they decided, well, we can only do it, kind of so much. They still preach it.
Right, but they don't want to scare people
Waldorf
away.
School, if you're not willing to follow it, then forget it. Don't come.
Yeah.
And they're full.
Wow.
So
Every single grade is full.
we're gonna get ready. We're gonna go to lunch too. Take a break pretty soon. And I'm wondering, the last big thing, and I just look and it's like 5 pages on rhythm and routine. So what I'm going to ask everybody to do is, if possible, can everybody take your books with them for lunch and read this section? If you haven't done it already. It's page 40 through 44. Rhythm and routine. Rhythm and routine. If everybody could read that, it'll make things go a little quicker when we come back. Cool?